Hello, everybody. Give you guys a second to settle in. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Learning Tree family and the wider community that Pat was such an important part of, thank you for being here today. It means so much to gather in this special place. These classrooms behind us, these walls, the play yard, they all hold decades of memories from the years Pat spent here sharing and shaping little lives. She shared patience, warmth, and a steady love, not only as a teacher, but as a friend, a mentor, and a steady presence in the community. Before I begin today, I did want to take a moment to acknowledge that we lost another important member of the Learning Tree family just last Sunday. Mary Jane John, another teacher of mine and a lifelong friend of Pat, has now joined her on the other side. Although we have experienced many losses this year, I take comfort in knowing Pat, Mary Jane, and Jerry are all back together and will always be kept in our Learning Tree spirit here as well. Okay, I have prepared a short slideshow, just a glimpse into the life, friendships, and community Pat built over the years. My hope is that it gives everyone a moment to settle in, reflect, and remember her in your own way. Turn the big lights off. You can see a little better.
And I never came back to the 4th of July. This merry Mac, all dressed in black, with silver buttons all down her back. She asked her mother for 15 cents to see the elephants jump the fence. They jumped so high, they touched the sky, and they never came back. Thank you, everybody who shared pictures and memories with me so I could create that for us. It was truly an honor to create that. It's honestly how I process, mourn, and honor those I love. Today is exactly about that, to be together as a community, to mourn together and honor an incredible woman. Pat was, of course, a beloved teacher, but she was so much more than that. Over the past weeks, I've been incredibly lucky to receive emails, messages, cards, and stories from so many of you. What stood out to me most wasn't the type of teacher she was, but it was kind of friend she was. Again and again, I heard about her loyalty, her humor, her steadiness, her devotion to the people in her life, near and far. She would have conversations all night long with people in different states. She knew what was going on in probably each and every one of your lives. She showed up, she listened,
She was a true friend in every sense of the word. And she was a community member in every sense of the term. Not just someone who lived in the place, but someone who actively built it, nurtured it, and strengthened it. Now here we are today. What fills this room is something powerful and beautiful. The friendships, the sisterhood, the students, the families, and lifelong connections she cultivated. That is what she deserves today. For us to celebrate this truly magical and special woman that we were all so lucky to meet. At this time, I would like to invite Randy.
Thank you, Ellie. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming here to remember and honor Pat. My name is Randy Sabato, and my late wife, Jerry Lowe Sabato, worked at the Learning Tree for 20 years. She was the director of the school after the founder, Judy Thomas, passed away. Pat was one of Jerry's best friends. They used to go to arts and crafts shows together, serve tea, to welcome new teachers to the school district, and do a lot of social and community things together. Pat also taught our two children, Amber and Brandon, who are sitting back there, who are now in their 40s. I know that if Jerry were here, she would want to say that Pat was more than a coworker and friend. She was like a sister. They would talk for hours about everything under the sun. But the topic they spent most of their time talking about were the children at the Learning Tree. Well, many of us knew Pat as a friend, colleague. There's a generation of children who are now adults who knew her simply as Teacher Pat. To a preschool teacher, to a preschool child, a teacher is a giant, a protector, a magician, all rolled into one. To work in a preschool is to live in a state of constant, beautiful chaos. Pat didn't just watch children. She was a role model, a teacher who built and created fantasy worlds. A cardboard box wasn't just a box. It was a rocket ship or a castle. It was a world that they could escape to and allow their imagination to take them to places unbound by walls and time. A spilled carton of milk or paint wasn't a disaster. It was a lesson in how to help each other clean up. Pat helped create a safe place to learn, have fun, and make friends. What made Pat so special was her storytelling voice and her endless patience. She had this way of looking at a child who was having a distressful day and seeing exactly what they needed, whether it was a firm boundary or a quiet hug. She taught the big three lessons that we as adults still need to remember and practice. Be kind, listen well, and always keep trying. I heard this wonderful quote that goes, "A teacher affects eternity. You can never tell where their influence stops." Today, there are young parents walking around with a little bit of Pat's kindness inside of them. They're more curious because Pat encouraged their questions. They're braver because Pat encouraged them and told them they could do anything. Recently, I became a grandfather, and my son Brandon practicing his parenting skills on a strong-willed 2-year-old. I can see the same lessons having been learned from Pat being handed down. As we say goodbye, let's try and see the world through teacher Pat's eyes with a little more wonder, a lot of patience, and the belief that a brand new box of crayons and coloring books can solve anything. Rest in peace, Pat. Your final lesson plan is complete. You can rest easily now knowing that you left a lasting impact upon hundreds of children, now adults, making this a better and kinder world. Thank you.
Randy, that was really beautiful and really true to who Pat was and how she affected all of us kids. She's a type of magic that I will talk about later. Right now, I'd like to welcome Sue McDavid up, please. Yeah, I have your glasses.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sue, and I'm one of Patty's sisters-in-law. My family, some of our family are here. Patty was very loved by all of us in our family, and we miss her. She had such a love of life and was interested in so many things, and she loved telling us all about her Red Hat Rebel ladies. We heard all about your functions, her many book club meetings, her infamous annual Oscar parties, and all the many themed luncheons, teas, et cetera, that she attended. She also loved describing those to us, and we frequently felt like we were there in attendance with her, right down to the color and pattern of the napkins, and the placemats, and how a table was decorated. Patty also was interested in other people and wanted to know what they were doing in their lives. I would like to share one memory with you of something that happened that I think epitomizes the way Patty used to connect with people. I'm an avid gardener and always wanted to attend the San Francisco Flower and Garden Show that was held at the Cow Palace in Daly City many years ago. I mean, this was the elite of elite garden events. Patty, of course, knew of my love of everything gardening and plants. And she called me one day and said, listen, we're going. Come down here this weekend. I've made all the arrangements. She bought the tickets. She arranged the bus transportation, registered us for the luncheon. We attended several of the gardening lectures that were held, and we walked all over that huge venue all day long with her oohing and awing over everything. Mainly for my benefit, I'm sure. To my knowledge, Patty did not have a green thumb, did not want to play in the dirt, but she knew how much I loved it, and she planned that whole day for my benefit. And I think that really is her connection with people and wanting to be a part of their lives. One last comment. As you can imagine, this has been an incredibly difficult time for our family. And if there's anything that has been brought home to me, it's this. Go knock on the door of that neighbor who you haven't seen in a while. Call an old friend, and most importantly, keep your family loved ones close to you. She would be so honored, I think, and delighted by seeing all of her good friends here. And we thank you all for attending. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Now Lori is going to come up. She's Pat's dear book club friend and will be reading a poem for us. Is she here? Yeah. Yeah, okay, awesome. Thank you. I saw you.
Hi there. My name is Lori Schaefer. I'm in Pat's book club, or one of her book clubs, and play bingo with her once a month. And I've known her for like 30 years. We've been trying to pinpoint that, and we can't. So I'm just gonna stick with 30 years, and that'll make me a little younger. Pat Hocking will be missed by many. A teacher, the queen of the Red Hats group. Like me, there were also lots of B's in her life. Bunko, bingo, book club. Several book clubs, I believe. In her house, she had a whole wall of books. All kinds of topics. You could go in there and find something, anything you wanted to read. I recently ran into a poem posted on Facebook, of all places, that shares food for thought for everyone. It's called The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the date on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of his birth and spoke of the following date with tears. He said, what mattered most of all was the dash between the years. For that dash represented all the time they spent alive on earth, and now only those who